So, actuality and potentiality are precisely what they sound to be. Potential and what is. Right? So, potentiality is what there is potential to be, what can be. Actuality is what is. What is in actuality. Right? One thing that Aristotle does is he uses these terms in two different senses each. Right? What we'll call pure potentiality or potential potentiality, P1 for short, actual potentiality, P2 for short, potential actuality, A1 for short, and actual actuality, A2 for short. We also might call A2 pure actuality, right? And the difference lies in the transition point from P1 to P2, right? So pure potentiality, P1, is the very he defines as the very potential for a capacity, right? Or a capacity for a capacity, right? Think of it this way, right? The metal that makes up this bottle initially had the capacity to be this bottle, but it also had the potential to be blinds, to be a lamp, to be the frame of my computer, right? There's so many things that the metal could have been, right? But until it becomes shaped, it's just pure potential on the part of the metal. The same thing with the infant's ability to learn a language, right? As a baby, barring interfering factors like cognitive disability or whatnot, all infants have the ability to learn Greek, right? Or Spanish, or English. Although why you would want to learn this clusterfuck of a language, I don't know. Right? You can learn, you have the potential to learn any language. Even as an adult, you possess this potential. But as an infant, who can't speak any language, all that you possess is the potential to learn and eventually speak any language, right? It's a capacity for the capacity to learn a language, as opposed to P2, the actual potentiality, where you, as a language speaker, know how to speak English, Spanish, Greek, or Sanskrit, Hindi, Mongolian, right? Dutch. The languages you know are ones that you can speak. It's a present capacity in you to speak those languages, rather than just a potential capacity. And the same thing for the water bottle, right? Right now it's it has water in it, right? But if I unscrewed it, emptied it, it would have the capacity to be filled. Right? It would have the potential to be filled with whatever I wanted to put in there. Water, vodka, orange juice, my grandmother's remains. Okay, maybe not that last one. More because I don't know where either of them are buried than anything else. But leaving aside my more morbid thoughts and humor, this leads us to A1, right? Potential actuality, right? So A1 and P2 are really two sides of the same coin when you get down to it. The focus is just different, right? In the case of P2, the focus is on the capacity itself, right? On the existence of the capacity, right? We have the ability to speak a language, right? Versus with the case of potential actuality, which is, we might define A1 as a potential action, right? Right. So what could be done based on an existing capacity. So rather than focus on the capacity itself, we focus on the action that the capacity describes, right? So rather than focusing on the capacity to speak a language, it would be the ability that at any moment we can begin speaking the language, right? We can begin the activity of engaging that capacity, engaging that existing potential, of using it, or making use of it in the case of filling the water bottle up with my grandmother's ashes. No, I'm not drinking my grandmother's ashes. I'm drinking my ashes. Okay. And then the last one's very straightforward. A2, pure actuality. It is a capacity that is currently being engaged. Like, me speaking English right now. Right? Versus in the case of A1, I also know Italian and some German and Sanskrit, and I have the capacity to speak those at any moment. But right now I'm speaking English, so I'm not speaking those. But I could at any moment begin utilizing those languages actively. Right? So this highlights the primary difference between the three, or between the four, right? The critical difference is going to be that inanimate objects, right, and specifically man-made ones, um, exist, right? The capacity for their change, right, moving from just having the pure potential to having to being shaped to have an actual potential, is going to come from outside of them. The metal that makes up this water bottle, just metal, right? It might have that potential to be any of the various things the metal could be before it's shaped, but it has to be shaped by an external force. Meanwhile, the force that shapes the development of language, our ability to go from, as infants, not knowing any language and having the ability to learn them and learning language, while there might be external factors like what language is being spoken around us, and so on and so forth, spoken around us and to us, and so on and so forth, the main thing is going to be that we affect the change ourselves, right? And the change is internal. The cause of the change is internal to us, right? It comes from within. So the capacity is something for that to make the transition is something internal to us, right? It relies on an internal will rather than an external force. And the source of that change, according to Aristotle, for living things is going to be the soul, right?